thank you all for tuning in to another episode of All Things Thursday. This is Jerica J. Red Brumfield, your host, coming in with you today. I have a special guest with me today, and she is my family. Thank you so much for being on, my cousin Ashley Lewis. And so, if you could, to just tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Like she said, I'm actually her cousin, her first cousin. My name is Ashlei Lewis. I am an author and a speaker. I love to write, and I study psychology and criminology. And why I'm here is just to share my story with you guys, in hopes that you will find strength and encouragement in God, and find your purpose.
Awesome. I love it. So, you do psychology, criminology. What does the criminology look like?
Okay, criminology is the study of criminal behavior and law, and so it's the science part of law and figuring out why people decide to do the things that they do.
Okay. That's sound pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
And so I know you said you study psychology and you wrote a book.
Yes.
All right, and I have one of your books here with me, and it is called Unafraid to Soar.
Yes.
So if you could to just tell us, what does it mean for you to be unafraid to soar?
Okay. Well, Unafraid to Soar is a guide to learning spiritual and psychological strategies to conquer fear and strengthen your faith. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in God, and I also battled with fear for a while, and I just didn't know who I was and what I was called to do. I didn't know what my purpose was in life, and so I was battling with fear while knowing God. And so God gave me this vision to write to help other young women like myself to be unafraid to soar. If God gave you a purpose, He called you to do something and to be something here on earth for His purpose, of course. Just to do it and do it unafraid. So
Yeah.
I wrote this book, and it's some spiritual strategies. So I include some scriptures in there that helped me on my journey to being unafraid, and also psychological strategies and seeking mental health.
Okay.
From,
So it's basically to help people basically not be scared to take risks.
yeah, of course, that's exactly what it is. Many people have visions and dreams that God placed on their hearts, but they're like, I don't know where to start. I'm scared. I feel maybe what will people say? Like, will they judge me by my past? Will they judge me by who I was? Like, how will I start? And so God would tell them, hey, I'm here with you. Of course, we know that God will never leave us and forsake us, as, in the Bible, right? So we know the word, but it's just about getting out and getting over that fear. And so the book talks about also psychological strategies. So seeking mental health.
Mental health, all of it.
All of it,
Because
yeah.
when you get the mental health, it is helping you as
It's
well.
helping
So
you, yeah. So and just being unafraid to do that as well, because there's a stigma to seeking mental health help. And so since I study psychology, of course I want to incorporate that into my book as well. But also knowing that prayer also will help as well. So I'll talk a little bit about that, some prayer strategies. And in the back of the book, actually, if I can hold it.
Yeah.
All right, so the front of the book is like a memoir. So the first couple of chapters talk about my story. So, where I started off, as a shy young girl. I was very afraid to speak out in public. So even this right now is like a big step for me.
Okay.
And just, getting over that fear of speaking publicly. Also just some things that, happened in my life and that actually I felt that caused that fear. Just kind of, I was afraid of people.
What do you mean about things in your life that caused that fear?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I had experienced something very traumatic. I was molested as a young girl by someone who was very close to me. And so that caused me to bottle up my feelings and my trust with other people. And I just didn't know how to get over that. I grew up in a very spiritual family. Everyone we knew to pray,
Right.
and we know
Yes,
God,
we did.
but I just didn't know, like, at that point, I didn't know him for myself. I knew,
Right.
what my mom told me, what my grandmother told me, but I didn't have that real personal relationship with God for myself. But I prayed to God. I thought I knew who God was, and I knew he was talking to me, and because he had already called me, but I just didn't have that personal relationship with him. So as I got older, I went to counseling, and it's actual pastoral counseling. So
Okay.
you can see counseling, within your church as well. And he helped me break it down, like, hey, it wasn't your fault. God will allow things to happen, or even the devil could come in and try to take you off your life's try
Purpose.
to that's his purpose, is to steal, kill, and destroy, right? And so he was just letting me know that I'm not alone, and that God is watching me, he's guiding me, he never left me, and he will never leave me. And so through that experience, and actually going through counseling, I was able to find God, and hear his voice for myself, and create a personal relationship with him. So I'll talk a little bit about that in my book. I don't want to sit here and explain it all, because I want you guys to read it. And then the second part talks about psychological health part.
Okay.
So seeking it, outside, and not being afraid to do so. It's very easy to be afraid to go seek counseling, because people often demonize it. Like,
They do.
And it's like, you're not crazy for seeking help.
Can you say that again?
You're not crazy for seeking help.
Hold on one sec. Can you say it one more time?
You're not crazy for seeking help.
Okay. A lot of people feel like, especially in our community, as Black community, a lot of people don't go to counselors. They don't go see a therapist and different things like that, because maybe their parents have told them, you don't need to see no counselor, you don't need to see a therapist. Like, what they gonna do to help? But God put them here for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I like how you say you're not crazy for seeking help.
Yes. I mean, oftentimes in church, we hear that a lot. Oh, just pray about it. Everything's going to be fine. Just pray about it. You'll be good. God will hear you. And God will hear you, of course. But like you said, he put those people here for a reason. Luke was a physician, right? And so, like, there's different people that God equips to help us. And that's why I feel like he gave me, he gave me that ability to help other people. I just had to get over that fear. And I wasn't walking in accordance to what he wanted me to do. So I was kind of living out of disobedience, right? I looked at it at that point. I was like, God, I know you called me to help heal this hurting world. Why am I afraid? Like, it was also like, the devil, I would say, like, trying to talk me out of living out my purpose. So I'll talk about that in the book.
Like it, and I'm going to come right back to that. But if you all are watching, if you all are on Facebook, I would like for you to like this video and comment. Also, to turn on your notifications so that you can know the next time when All Things Thursday come on. Also, if you are on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button at the bottom, and also the bell, so you can be notified as well whenever All Things Thursday come back on. We're here with my lovely cousin Ashley Lewis, and she is talking about being unafraid to soar. I love the topic, honestly, just being unafraid to soar, because a lot of people are bound in fear.
Yeah.
Like, that's like one of the number one things, like, that's stopping people from doing whatever. So it's fear. But you was going into prayer and going into your prayer closet, and God speaking to you. What if someone is listening and they are new to God? They don't know nothing about how God speaks, or they don't know the ways he speaks. They don't know how to pray. They don't even know if it is God. Can you kind of help them with what they can do?
Okay, well, as a believer of Christ, I do believe that he speaks in more ways than one. But I'm just going to talk about through his word. All right, so through the Holy Bible, he speaks through his word. And the word, it's always been here. It never changes, right? But also, I believe that we're spiritual beings, right? And we live in a spiritual world. And he also speaks through other means, right?
Mhm.
So
Nature
nature,
as
right?
well.
Through other people, you know, you may be in contact with someone else. You might
Yeah.
say, "Oh, hey, like, you know, familiar or something."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or he may send someone to you to speak to you. I just believe in just being open to receive, you know, what God, and then having discernment, of course, because some people can come in and, you know, say different things. But just have an open heart and just ask God, say, you know, God, you know, show me, you know, what you want me to know, or, you know, I'm listening, and tell me, speak to me, you know. And also just, I want to talk a little bit about the mind, because I talk about that in my book, and just, you know, renewing your mind daily, because also fear, you know, will block, you know, it will hinder you, like you said. And so, so just, you know, keeping your mind stayed on God, and just having, you know, that personal relationship with Him, and renewing your mind daily, because, you know, that's where fear comes in, and the devil likes to come in and torment your mind. And if your mind isn't, you know, on Christ, you know, you're bound to, you know, go astray. And so I talk about the mind. And so, but if you don't know God and you want to know God, I would love to pray with them, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay. Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord God, I thank you for having us here today, together in unity. For those who are watching on Facebook Live and on YouTube, Lord God, I thank you again for allowing them to find my cousin Jerica's page. And also just thank you for, you know, just being in the midst of us today. And Lord God, if there are anybody who's watching this video who don't know you, Lord, please reveal yourself to them, Lord God. Let them know that they don't have to be afraid, Lord God, that you are with them, Lord, and that they haven't done anything to let you not love them, that you will always love them, Lord, and that you know them because you are their creator, Lord God, and that if they want to know you, Lord, that all they have to do, Lord, is just to open up their hearts to you, Lord. And so right now, if anyone is watching this video, Lord, please reveal yourself to them, Lord God, and come into their hearts and come into their minds, Lord God, and guide them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. And so, thank God for the prayer. In your book, in the book, talking about Unafraid to Soar. And I know we talked about the therapist part of the book, and that people do talk about prayer, but it's also important to see a therapist. Why do you feel like it's also important to see a therapist even though a person can pray?
That's a good question, and it may be subjective, but from my point of view, I believe, because the mind, I mean, we are, like I said, we are spiritual beings, we're also human beings, right? So, being that we are made up of like matter and all these different cells, and if you want to go into science, but like having someone who is able to speak from an unbiased point of view, you know, without judging you, you know, helping you from like taking themselves out of the situation, like seeing things from a different point of view. So they're able to help guide you. It doesn't have to be like a psychiatrist who's going to prescribe you medicine, because I really, honestly, I don't like, you know, believe in like just prescribing people medicine, right? I advocate for counseling, because you're able to talk to people who, you know, who've been trained, who've maybe even been through what you've been through, like as a peer support specialist, or, you know, it doesn't have to be like someone that you go and pay all your money to, but just having like a mentor. Even I talk about having a mentor in here, just someone that, you know, can speak to you from an unbiased point of view.
Yeah. And so if someone even at this moment may want a therapist, where do you feel like they can go find one? Like, where can you direct them to?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I do believe in pastoral counseling, or if your church has like a counseling board, if you will. But also, if you attend university, your university may have a counseling center, or you can look in your community for different community centers. They have different mental health specialists that can help with that. Or you can Google in your region.
The area. Just type in counselor in whatever state that you in. I'm pretty sure you'll pick up something in that area. And so Unafraid to Soar. I'm just still stuck on the title, really.
Yeah, I love
I'm
the
honestly
title.
still stuck on the title.
Yeah, I don't know how it just God, because
Yeah.
he called us to higher places, right? And when we're operating in fear, I'm sorry, when we're operating in fear, we are operating on a low place,
level,
right?
yeah.
And God called us to higher places, right? And so in the higher place, we called to soar, and we have to be unafraid to do that. So that's where the title, I feel like it came from. He just gave me those words.
Unafraid to Soar. Yeah, because like even going in a higher, with everybody, honestly, because it's an unfamiliar place. If we always stuck on the ground and then we, go up higher, of course a person will be scared.
Yeah.
But I believe that going into a place that is unfamiliar and also take you out of your comfort zone, and even going to a place where you done took a risk, basically, you will be afraid.
For sure.
But it's about just taking that risk.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's human nature, and we're born with that innate ability to be afraid. The fight or flight, in the wild, when a prey is going to attack a predator is going to attack the prey, their instinct is to run from it, right? And we all have that ability, that innate ability to fight or flight, and so it's what are you going to do in that moment? Are you going to flee? Or are we going to stay and fight? And I believe that we're called to stay and fight because we have God on our side to do it, and we're not going to be alone to do it. And so that's why Unafraid to Soar, was born, because when God calls us to do something, we better do it, or we're going to be in disobedience. But when we do it, we don't have to be alone,
Right.
And we don't have to be afraid. So there may be that little bit of fear that we may feel initially, but
you can
we
use that to drive you to that next level.
Exactly. And we know the word, and what God says is true, right? So when God says, "Be not afraid, I'm with you," then, hey, look, I'm not afraid anymore because God's with me.
Right. Yeah. And so even I know you say you started off being fearful.
Yeah.
Through that part of writing your book, were you still fearful? When did the fear click off? Or are you still at the point of like, I'm still kind of, so
Yeah.
where are you at now with it?
Well, I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder. And I know when people hear about, disorders, they're scared. Look, that gives me more fear. And then, but it kind of just helped me recognize, like, okay, so what do I have to do now that I know what was wrong? It wasn't anything wrong, but now I just know, like, the practices and the tools that I have to use now to help with that. So, public speaking, I don't say I'm not good at it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I want, that was what God called me to do. Like, if I have to share my story with you, just like right now, I have to get over that fear. But the anxiety was just there because it was like the fight or flight. So I had to know, like, what to do in that moment. So being mindful, mindfulness is what I use. Prayer, and journaling helps me with my anxiety.
So these are practical
Yeah.
tools that you can use if a person have that fear, mindful and praying, and also just journaling as well.
Yes.
Okay, as well, and I believe that is good, and also just practicing. I believe just practicing something little by little as well. If you fearful, so for instance, like you said, public speaking, you may be fearful in that, or you listening may be fearful in something, but just start doing it something little by little to overcome that fear. If it is public speaking, get 2 people, starts talking in front of them, and then graduate to 4 people, then graduate to 10 people, and then eventually you will overcome that fear. Fear keeps us in this little space. And so you want to use, like we was talking about, that fear, but to propel you forward. So you can use the fear for a good thing, or you can also allow it to cripple you. It is basically your choice. Don't allow fear to cripple you. You have so much to do in this world. You have so many great things on the inside of you that needs to come out. Don't allow fear to cripple you. Also get somebody to hold you accountable,
For sure.
and maybe encourage you. You need people to push you even in these moments of fear. And so with your book Unafraid to Soar, can you briefly tell them where they could find it at?
Okay. Well, you can find my book Unafraid to Soar on Amazon.com. Just type in Unafraid to Soar and it'll pop up. It's only $6.
Only $6. Wow. Okay, $6. That is, McDonald's meals are higher than $6 nowadays. So, and I do thank you so much for being on with us on today. Once again, everyone, this is All Things Thursday. If you could, to like, share with someone that is on your timeline. Also, if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you can be notified the next time we come on. Thank you, and I'll see you next week on All Things Thursday. If you would like to be a featured guest on the TV show All Things Thursday, please email allthingstv19@gmail.com. That's ALLTHINGS TV19@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.